I know there's things you never thought before that have to do with walking out old doors. You've been prepared as long as time allowed. Well, I don't know how, but you're a big boy now. Come on and take a bow, 'cause you're a big boy now. You know the girls are taking notice of you. They say your hair is getting curly too. So shave today, you shave tomorrow as well. You'll run by you and not a classroom bell. Well, I don't know how, but you're a big boy now. In the great big world Daddy threw before you, with the pretty faces and the claws that tore you. And it's all so different when you get to sources, and love will make you strong as a team of wild horses. I know there's things you never thought before that have to do with walking out old doors. You've been prepared as long as time allowed, and I don't know how, but you're a big boy now. And I don't know how, but you're a big boy now. Come on and take a bow, 'cause you're a big boy now.
You too, you look beautiful. Okay, Jeff, look here. Yeah. You get a picture. Yeah, take a picture. One, two, three.
Yeah, I heard.
Mom?
Where's Mike? Time's almost. Look at yours. You want a cup of coffee?
I'm on the air. Oh, well,
When you bought the
Matthew's
little
better known as Manny. I can't tell you how proud I am of this young man. A wonderful boy and proud of all my grandchildren. We've got 9 and we're going to we wish Matthew everything good. We know he's going to make his mom and dad very proud, as well as all of us. It's wonderful to be here with everyone.
When this gets low,
Mark. We need Mark.
do we have Marky?
I'm flashing.
What can you do,
Okay.
Mark?
Mark.
Mark, look at Woody.
Mark.
Mark, look at the man. Mark, look at Mark.
You go down on one knee right there. Did you pray for this guy?
Yes.
You can't be in my photo. there, guys. 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, look over there.
Shabbat Shalom. And I want to welcome all of you, especially those of you who are visitors to our congregation. It's very, very nice to have you with us on this Shabbat morning. I'd like to tell you about a couple of things that you may want to have as we go through our service this morning. First of all of the Hebrew prayers and blessings that we sing in the course of the service are written in transliteration here in this song booklet. So I hope you had a chance to pick one of those up on your way in. If not, they're right out there in the foyer. I also want to invite you to have a Chumash, which is the Pentateuch that contains all of the Torah reading that we'll be doing and so forth this morning, and it contains some commentary as well, which can make the Torah reading more interesting. So those are available right there in the prayer book table out in the foyer. And finally, we do begin our service by all putting on our talesim together. So if you are one who likes to wear a talit, they're right there on the talit rack. And what we'll do is just take a moment before we begin and allow those of you who need the extra provisions to go on out into the foyer and pick up what you'd like to have, and then we'll begin our service. Well, I guess that means you have everything. So we'll begin our service and open our prayer books to page 282. And we're going to invite Matt to join us here at the pulpit and his Aunt Marcia Burdman, who will present him with his talit. And we all rise, please.
Vitzivanu
Please be seated. We continue with Matovu on page 283, and we sing this tune, this nigun, together. Blessed is our eternal God, creator of the universe, who has made our bodies with wisdom, combining veins, arteries, and vital organs into a finely balanced network. Wondrous fashioner and sustainer of life, source of our health and our strength, we give you thanks and praise.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר יצר את האדם בחוכמה וברבו נקבים נקבים חלולים חלולים גלוי וידוע לפני כיסא כבודך שאם יפתח אחד מהם או יסתם אחד מהם אי אפשר לקיים ולעמוד לפניך ברוך אתה אדוני רופא כל בשר ומפליא לעשות
אמן.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו לעסוק בדברי תורה.
Amen. Blessed is the eternal our God, ruler of the universe, who hallows us with his mitzvot and commands us to engage in the study of Torah. Eternal our God, make the words of your Torah sweet to us and to the house of Israel, your people, that we and our children may be lovers of your name and students of your Torah. Blessed is the eternal, the teacher of Torah to his people Israel.
Elu Divrim, She'em Lahem Shior She'adam Ochel Peroteham, Ba'alam Hazah Ve'hakeren Kayemet Lo, La'olam Haba Ve'elu Hain, Kibud Av Ve'em,
To honor father and mother,
Ugamilut Hasidim,
to perform acts of love and kindness,
V'hashkamat Beit HaMidrash Shacharit V'arvit,
to attend the house of study daily,
V'hachnasat Orchim,
to welcome the stranger,
Uvichor Holim,
to visit the sick,
V'hachnasat Kala,
to rejoice with bride and groom,
Uvayat Hamet,
To
console the bereaved,
V'yun Tefillah,
to pray with sincerity,
V'ha'ava Shalom, Ben Adam Lachavera,
to make
peace when there is strife,
V'talmud Torah Keneged Kulam,
and the study of Torah is equal to them all because it leads to them all.
Shenatata bi
ברוך אתה אדוני אשר בידו נפש כל חי ורוח כל בשר איש.
Amen. And we continue on page 286 with Nisim B'chol Yom as we recount our everyday blessings.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לשכל ובינה להבחין בין יום ובין לילה.
Together, blessed is the eternal our God, ruler of the universe, who has implanted mind and instinct within every living being.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשני ישראל.
Blessed is the eternal our God, who has made me a Jew.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשני בת חורין.
Blessed is the eternal our God, who has made me to be free.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם פוקח עיוורים.
Blessed is the eternal our God, who opens the eyes of the blind.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם מלביש ערומים.
Blessed is the eternal our God, who provides clothes for the naked.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם מתיר אסורים.
Blessed is the eternal our God, who brings freedom to the captive.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם זוקף כפופים.
Blessed is the eternal our God, whose power lifts up the fallen.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המכין מצעדי גבר.
Blessed is the eternal our God, who makes firm each person's steps.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם עוזר ישראל בגבורה.
Blessed is the eternal our God, who girds our people Israel with strength.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם עוטר ישראל בתפארה.
Blessed is the eternal our God, who crowns Israel with glory.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם הנותן ליעף כוח.
Blessed is the eternal our God, who gives strength to the weary.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המעביר שינה מעיניי ותנומה מעפעפיי.
Blessed is the eternal our God, who removes sleep from the eyes, slumber from the eyelids. Lord our God and God of all ages, school us in your Torah and bind us to your mitzvot. Help us to keep far from sin, to master temptation, and to avoid falling under its spell. May our darker passions not rule us, nor evil companions lead us astray. Strengthen in us the voice of conscience, prompt us to deeds of goodness, and bend our every impulse to your service, so that this day and always we may know your love and the goodwill of all who behold us. Blessed is the Lord, who bestows love and kindness on his people Israel.
ותננו היום ובכל יום לחן ולחסד ולרחמים בעיניך ובעיני כל רואינו, ותגמלנו חסדים טובים. ברוך אתה אדוני.
Baruch Shemo.
גומל חסדים טובים לעמו ישראל.
Amen. At all times, let us revere God inwardly as well as outwardly, acknowledge the truth, and speak it in our hearts. We continue on the bottom of page 289 with Ashrenu. Ashrenu, Ashrenu, Matov, Matov, Helkeinu, Helkeinu, Ashrenu, Ashrenu, Matov, Matov, Helkeinu, Umanayim, Goraleinu, Umayafa, Yerushatenu, Umayafa, 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 Yerushatenu, Umayafa, 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 Yerushatenu, Ashrenu, Ashrenu, Matov, Matov, Helkeinu, Helkeinu, Ashrenu, Ashrenu, Matov, Matov, Helkeinu.
ברוך שאמר והיה העולם.
Baruch Hu,
ברוך עושה בראשית.
Baruch Omer ve'oseh,
Baruch gozer umkayem.
Baruch mirachem al haaretz.
Baruch merachem al habriot.
Baruch mishalem sachar tov lireav.
Baruch ha'la'ad v'kayam la'netzach.
Baruch podeu matzil. Baruch shemo.
בשבחות ובזמירות נגדל לך ונשבחך ונפארך ונזכיר שמך ונמליכך מלכנו אלוהינו יחיד חי העולמים מלך משובח ומפואר עד שמו הגדול ברוך אתה אדוני
Baruch shemo.
מלך מהולל ותשבחו
Amen. Blessed is the one who spoke and the world came to be. Blessed is the source of creation. Blessed is the one whose word is deed, whose thought is fact. Blessed is the one whose compassion covers the earth and all its creatures. Blessed is the living and eternal God, ruler of the universe, divine source of deliverance and help. With songs of praise we extol you and proclaim your sovereignty, our God and King, for you are the source of life in the universe. Blessed is the eternal King, to whom our praise is due. In the bottom of page 292, the 92nd Psalm, Mizmor Shir.
מזמור שיר ביום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ביום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון וכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון.
Ashrei is on page 294, and we chant responsively.
אשרי יושבי ביתך עוד יהללוך סלע.
Ashrei ha'am shekacha lo, Ashrei ha'am sh'Adonai Elohav.
תהילה לדוד, ארוממך אלוהי המלך, ועברך שמך לעולם ועד.
B'chol yom avarchecha, v'halala shimcha le'olam va'ed.
גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, ולגדולתו אין חקר.
Dor ledor yishabach ma'asecha, ugvurotecha yagidu.
הדר כבוד הודיך, ודברי נפלאותיך עשיך.
Ve'zuz norotecha yomeru, ugdulatcha asaprena.
זכר רב טובך יביאו, וצדקתך ירננו.
Chanun v'rachum Adonai, erech apayim ugdal chesed.
טוב אדוני לכל, ורחמיו על כל מעשיו.
Yoduch Adonai kol ma'asecha, v'chasidecha yivarchucha.
כבוד מלכותך יאמרו, וגבורתך ידברו.
Lehodir livnei adam gevurotav, uchvod hadar malchuto.
מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור.
Somech Adonai lechol hanoflim, v'zokef lechol hakfufim.
עיני כל אליך יצברו, ואתה נותן להם את אוכלם בעתו.
Poteach et yadecha, umasbir lechol chai ratzon.
צדיק אדוני בכל דרכיו, וחסיד בכל מעשיו.
Karov Adonai lechol korav, lechol asher yikra'uhu ve'emet.
רצון יראיו יעשה, ואת שבתם ישמע ויושיעם.
Shomer Adonai et kol ohavav, ve'et kol harisha'im yashmid.
תהילת אדוני ידבר פיו, יברך כל בשר, שם קודשו לעולם ועד.
Va'anachnu nivarech Yah, me'atam yad olam, Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. El בקודשו, Hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol Shama, Shehalleluya, hallelujah. Nishmat kol chai tivarech et shimcha Adonai Eloheinu.
On the bottom of page 297. Let every living soul bless your name, O Lord our God, and let every human being acclaim your majesty forever and ever. Through all eternity you are God. We have no king but you. God of all ages, ruler of all creatures, Lord of all generations, all praise to you. You guide the world with steadfast love, your creatures with tender mercy. You neither slumber nor sleep. You awaken the sleeping and arouse the dormant. You give speech to the silent, freedom to the enslaved, and justice to the oppressed. To you alone we give thanks.
Ilu finu male shira kayam. Ilu finu male shira kayam. Ilu finu, ilu finu male shira kayam. Ilu finu male shira kayam. Ilu finu shochen ad marom v'kadosh shemo v'chatuv ranenu tzadikim b'Adonai laisharim navat tehillah. Befi sharim titalal, uvdivrei tzadikim titbarach, uvilshon chasidim titromam, uvekerev kiddushim titkadash. Baruch atah Adonai, el melech gadol batishbachot, el haodaot, Adon haniflaot, הבוחר בשירי זמרו, מלך אלוהי העולמים.
Amen.
Yikadal v'ikdash meraba. Amen. Be'alma divara cherute v'yamlich mochute. B'chayechon uvyomechon uchaye dechope Israel ba'agala uvizman kari yimru amen. Yeheshme rabba mavora lulamu ameomaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithala shemei dekudesha barechu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata damiran v'alma v'yimaru amen.
Can we rise?
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvrei choshech, osei shalom uvrei et hakol, hameir la'aretz v'ledarim aleha, rachamim u'tuvo mekadesh, b'chol yom, tamid ma'aseh v'reshit, marabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam b'chochma asita, ma'ah ha'aretz kinyanecha, tit barach Adonai, Eloheinu al shevach maaseh yadecha, ve'al me'orei or she'asita, yifa rucha, selah, baruch atah Adonai yotzir ha'me'orot.
Ahava rabba ahavtanu, Adonai Eloheinu, Len lagidola v'teva, amata aleinu. Avinu malkeinu, ba'avur avotenu, shebratchu b'cha, shebratchu b'cha, Avinu malkeinu. ותלמדנו כחיים, כן תרננו תלמדנו, אבינו הרחמן, הרחם רחם עלינו, ותן בליבנו להבין, להבין ולהשכיל לשמוע, ללמוד וללמד, לשמור ולעשות, ולקיים את כל דברי תלמוד תורתך באהבה. והאר עינינו בתורתך, לדבק ליבנו במצוותיך, ויחד לבבנו לאהבה וליראה את שמך, ולא נבוש לעולם ועד, ולא נבוש לעולם ועד. והאר עינינו בתורתך, לדבק ליבנו במצוותיך, ויחד לבבנו באהבה וליראה את שמך. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. 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 ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו, לעולם ועד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו, לעולם ועד. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד.
Please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך. ושיננתם לבניך ודברת בם בשיטתך בביתך ובלתך בדרך ושופך וקומך. וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, ואתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות להם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
On the top of page 304. True and enduring, beloved and precious, awesome, good, and beautiful is this eternal teaching. This truth we hold to be forever certain, The eternal God is our King. He is the rock of Jacob, our protecting shield. He abides through all generations. His name is eternal. His throne stands firm. His sovereignty and faithfulness are everlasting. His words live and endure, true and precious to all eternity. Lord our God, you redeemed us from Egypt. You set us free from the house of bondage. For this, the people who felt your love sang songs of praise to you. The living God, high and exalted, mighty and awesome, who humbles the proud and raises the lowly, who frees the captive and redeems the oppressed, who is the answer to all who cry out to him. All praise to God Most High, the source of blessing. Like Moses and Israel, we sing to him this song of rejoicing.
תהילות לאל עליון ברוך הוא ומבורך, משה ובני ישראל כענו שירה, בשמחה רבה, ויאמרו כולם. יא בבא בימבה, יא בבא בימבה, יא בבא בימבה, יא בבא בימבה, איי 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 איי, יא בבא בימבה, איי 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 איי, יא בבא בימבה, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עוסק ולד, נורא תהילות עוסק ולד, שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים, שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים, לשמחה לשמחה על שפת הים, לשמחה לשמחה על שפת הים, יחד כולם כולם הודו 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 והמליכו ויאמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל קומה בעזרת ישראל, ובדחי נומך יהודה וישראל. גורלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
We rise for the tefillah.
אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Ha'el Hagadol Hagidol Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomer Ha'alim Tovim, Yekameh Hakol, V'zocher Hasei Avot, U'mevii Geulah Lifnei Bnei לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד God לך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד God לך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Amen. Please be seated. We read together on the top of page 309. The people of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, observing the Sabbath in every generation as a covenant for all time. It is a sign forever between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days the eternal God made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested from his labors.
וישמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש.
Together, our God and God of ages past, may our rest on this day be pleasing in your sight. Sanctify us with your mitzvot, and let your Torah be our way of life. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation, and purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, O Lord our God, let your holy Sabbath remain our heritage, that all Israel, hallowing your name, may find rest and peace. Blessed is the Lord for the Sabbath and its holiness.
קדשנו במצוותיך, ותן חלקנו בתורתך, שמנו מטובך, ושמחנו בישועתך. לה 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 שבת קודשך ינוחו בישראל וקדשי שמך.
Be gracious, O Lord our God, to your people Israel, and receive our prayers with love. May our worship always be acceptable to you. Fill us with the knowledge that you are near to all who seek you in truth. Let our eyes behold your presence in our midst and in the midst of our people in Zion. Blessed is the Lord, whose presence gives life to Zion and all Israel. Together on the next page. We gratefully acknowledge that you are the Lord our God and God of our people, the God of all generations. You are the rock of our life, the power that shields us in every age. We thank you and sing your praises for our lives which are in your hands, for our souls which are in your keeping, for the signs of your presence we encounter every day, and for your wondrous gifts at all times, morning, noon, and night. You are goodness, your mercies never end. You are compassion, your love will never fail. You have always been our hope. For all these things, O sovereign God, let your name be forever exalted and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Lord, whose nature is goodness, we give you thanks and praise. Page 313. Peace, happiness, and blessing, grace and love and mercy, may these descend on us, on all Israel, and all the world. Bless us, our Creator, one and all, with the light of your presence, for by that light, O God, you have revealed to us the law of life, to love kindness and justice and mercy, to seek blessing, life, and peace. O bless your people Israel and all peoples with enduring peace. Praise be the Lord, who blesses his people Israel with peace. Sim shalom, tova uvracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yisrael amecha, b'cheinu avinu kulanu ke'echad, ve'or panecha, ki v'or panecha natata lanu, those who are in need of healing of body, those in need of healing of spirit. For each of them, we pray for a refuah shlema, a complete and a speedy recovery, as we sing together these words, El Na Rifana, God grant your healing. We continue with our own prayer.
This week's Torah portion is part of a double Torah portion called Tazria Mitzorah. Many generations ago, people with leprosy were kept separate from their own camp because at the time leprosy was a very risky illness to acquire, mostly because there wasn't a cure developed yet. The only way the ill people could get back in their camp was if they were fully cured and well. In these days, the Israelites had a ritual purification before they could come back into the camp. Compared to what was done in many non-Israelite camps, letting cured people back was very compassionate. People who lived among other cultures had to suffer from being banished from their camp forever or being killed since there wasn't a cure yet. Think back to what I just said. Most importantly, apply this to situations in the 90s and think of leprosy as cancer or AIDS. How compassionate is America? In the late 80s, a boy with AIDS needed to have a court order just to be allowed back into school. Parents of his classmates refused to let their children go to school with him. This person was Ryan White. Now think back to the 60s. In those days, blacks and whites were kept separate. In a Supreme Court decision, Brown versus Topeka Board of Education, it was decided that African Americans could integrate all white schools. We don't have this type of segregation in today's society, but it sure seems like we have segregation of people with diseases rather than people of color. Why is America like this? African Americans, homosexuals, and others have to be very strong to put up with what the general public thinks and how they react to them. If you're at a mall and you see a male and a female kiss, it's not a big deal. If you see two women kissing, it's likely that a crowd will stare and not give them any privacy. Even today, it seems like people who are different are ignored and are kicked out of our society. It shows history repeats itself because this happened back in the camps with people with leprosy. In Abraham Lincoln's famous speech, the Gettysburg Address, he stressed all men are created equal. Martin Luther King Jr. and Susan B. Anthony were also human rights activists. The difference between them was Martin Luther King fought for African American rights, and Susan B. Anthony fought for the right for women to vote. Luckily, both were successful. Still, we are affected by prejudices against people who are different. For example, prejudice can affect the amount of resources put into medical research on certain diseases. How many people have the disease can affect how much effort is put into finding the cure. If there were only 20 people that have a disease, a lot less effort would be put into finding a drug to cure it than would be done for cancer that affects a lot of people. This has to do with the profit motive of the drug companies. All the money spent to develop the new drug would not come back to them if there weren't a lot of patients who needed it. Also, prejudice plays a big role. If a disease affects a minority group, such as gays and African Americans, a researcher who is prejudiced might not choose to research that disease. Also, the rich person or company that could fund research might not support a researcher's efforts. Today's Torah portion teaches us to be more tolerant and accepting of ill people and to treat them with respect, compassion, and dignity. If someone you know gets cancer or AIDS, you should stick with them throughout their illness and be there for support. You can also contribute money to sick people to pay their medical bills and support worthwhile charities. When my grandparents were sick, we went to visit them and spoke with them on the phone often. My grandfather went to the Bahamas to get a treatment that wasn't available in the United States. He was very ill, so my dad and aunts would do puzzles with him, talk with him, and spend time with him, and make his illness more tolerable than being alone. It is important to give sick people a lot of love, support, and comfort. That can make them feel better about their illness, and that might even help them recover physically or live longer. When we treat people with compassion, it gives them a motivation to live longer and helps them feel better about themselves. My grandmother was very ill, and she prayed to God to let her live long enough to be able to go to my cousin Adam's bar mitzvah, and she did. This shows how we can help the sick lead better, more fulfilling, and longer lives. In conclusion, the lesson we should take from this Torah portion is to treat people with respect, dignity, no matter what their race or religion is, and without regard to their illness or other personal problems. And this is one of the important things I've learned as I've studied Judaism and prepared for my bar mitzvah. Now I would like to thank some of the special people who have helped me prepare for this day. My dad taught me a lesson I'll never forget. Always try your best and never give up. If it wasn't for my dad, I would only be chanting 5 aliyot. My mom, on the other hand, was very supportive and loving. That was just what I needed at the time. My little brother Mark and my older sister Rachel also helped me during this difficult time in my life. Sona Goodblatt and Suad Spivak definitely helped me to make this bar mitzvah possible. Suad always told me I could do anything I wanted to as long as I tried. Miss Spivak did the same, but she also taught me what Judaism is really all about, including the countless hours on her couch, studying Hebrew and waiting for my mom. Last but not least, I'd like to thank Hillary and Rabbi Frank. who helped me organize my thoughts for the speech, and Kenna Robbins for all her terrific coaching. I'd also like to thank my friends and relatives who are here today. Some of you have traveled thousands of miles to share a special day with me. Shabbat Shalom. Mommy messed up. What's wrong with you? All right.
And now we turn to Seder Kriyat Torah, to our Torah reading, page 417.
אין כמוך ואלוהים אדוני, ואין כמעשיך. מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. אדוני מלך, אדוני מלך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום.
And now as we take our Torah from the Ark, we want to invite Rachel and Mark to come on up and open our Ark. And we want to invite to the Bima as well Matt's parents, Scott and Debbie, and grandparents, Marilyn and Martin. And we rise, please.
Matthew, when I look at you, I think of my own bar mitzvah 29 years ago in June of 1968. We have a lot in common. You're obviously very handsome, you have a great sense of humor, and you have tremendous compassion for people less fortunate than yourself. Matt, we've never been more proud of you. You've studied so hard to become a bar mitzvah today. And you've never lost sight of the significance of becoming a bar mitzvah. Matt, you know, and I know, that your Nanny and Zadie are watching over you today, are so proud of you and all your accomplishments. We love you.
Sorry. Matt, it seems like just a short time ago that we attended your consecration in religious school at Temple Salel right here. Is it possible that already you are becoming a bar mitzvah? For us, the time has gone quickly, but for you, growing from a young boy into an adolescent, as you are now, life has had many obstacles and many wonderful experiences as well. As you grow older, you gain better insight into the true meaning of life. For example, what work is necessary, what fun must sometimes be sacrificed, and what personal respect to yourself is, respect to others, your community, and humanity in general. The preparation of time that you have invested into preparing for your bar mitzvah has by far exceeded any goal you have ever wanted and attained. This is something that you wanted, and it became of prime importance in your life,
this time. You are now equipped with what is necessary to become a participating Jew, and we hope that you will always want to be active in the Jewish community as well as desiring a Jewish home life someday with your own family. You have made us very proud today.
I know. Here, Ashley.
Our Torah reading this morning is found on page 460 of the Chumash, As Matt said, we'll be reading from Tazria, from the beginning of the Parsha, Leviticus chapter 12, verse 1 and forward.
נעמדו ראשון שמחה שלום בן נתתיהו ומרדכי בן נדן ולי בן דוב וידם בן נחם. For the first Aliyah, we call upon Ron Anatol, Henry Klein, Marty Kaufman, Larry Weinberg, and Isidore Plotkin. Over on that side.
Come stand over on this side with me, please. Baruch Adonai Hambarak Leolam Vaed. Amen.
Amen. Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe lemor. Daber el bnei Yisrael lemor. Isha ki tazria v'yada zechar v'toma. Shiva yamin ki meni data tatitma. Uvayom hashmini imo bizar or lato.
Amen. All of you, stand on
Thank
the
you.
side for that.
יעמדו מלכה בת אפרים ובריינה, בנימין בן הרשל ובריינה בת שמואל, והרב טוביאן בן יעקב וחיירזל בת הרש. For the second Aliyah, we call upon Marcia Burdman, Dick Burdman, Robbie Burdman, Rabbi Ted Levy, and Ina Ray Levy.
Baruch Adonai Hambarak Leolam Vaed.
Amen.
Amen. Yishloshim yom, Yishloshe yamin sheishev bidamei tahara. B'chol kodesh lo tiga, vel hamikdash lo tavo an milo yimei tahara. V'im nekeva telein, vetoma shavraim kanidata. V'shishim yom, v'sheishe yamin sheishev al nemei tahara. Umelo yimei tahara, levain o lavatavi, kevesh mishnetolula, venyona otor levatat el petach hamoed el hakohen. Thank you.
Other side here next to you, please.
Yeah.
יעמדו דוד בן לוי, הסול בת לוי, לזר בן לב זלג ושרה, בת יצחק ומשה. For the third Aliyah, we call upon David Hyman, Barbara Hyman, Leon Stein, and Shirley Stein.
Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'charanu mikol ha'olim, v'natamanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah. Amen.
Amen. V'hikrivo lifnei Adonai v'chiper aleha v'tohara mimekor dameha zo torat hayuledet lazachar olam keva v'im lo timsa yada dese v'lochecha shite torim o shenei b'nei yona echad le'ola v'echad l'chatar v'chiper aleha HaKohen v'tahera v'yidaber Adonai el Moshe v'Aharon lemor Adam ki yever b'sro se'et o sepachat o v'aheret v'hayever b'sro lenegat sara'at v'huva Aharon HaKohen o el echad mi banav HaKohanim.
Amen. Shabbat shalom. Have a side, please, for the next video. Thank you.
Yamdu Yoel ben Abraham v'Shlomo ben David v'Liv Esther bat Tansha Merel v'Raphael v'Sora bat Tansha Merel v'Raphael. For the fourth Aliyah, we call upon Joel and Patty Kaufman, Steve Altman, Lisa Altman, Charles Dunlap, and Sharon Dunlap.
Baruch Adonai HaBarak Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'charbanu mikol ha'anim, v'natamanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Ra'ah HaKohen et Tanega be'or havasar. V'se'ar b'nega hafach lavan. Umar'e hanega amok me'or b'saro. Negat sarat hu rahu HaKohen v'timei oto. V'im baheret livnahi ve'or b'saro. Ve'amok in mar'eha min ha'or. V'se'ara lo hafach lavan. V'hiskir HaKohen et hanega shivat yamim. Ra'ahu HaKohen. No, V'ra'ahu HaKohen b'yom hashvi'i. V'hinei hanega. Amad b'nav lo fasah hanega ba'or. V'yiskiro HaKohen et shivat yamim shenit.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natamanu Torah v'emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tachenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Everyone, thank you.
Yamdu Chaim Eliyahu ben Meir v'Devra bat Abraham v'Sara v'David ben Meir v'Sara Avigal bat Ruven Leib HaKohen. For the fifth Aliyah, we call upon Mark Stein, Donna Stein, Rick Stein, and Sharon Stein.
We have a law firm in the making.
Stein, 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 and Stein.
Baruch Adonai HaBarak
Amen.
Amen. Ra'ah hakoheno tov bayom hashvi. Shinit v'hinei kiha hanega. Lo fasah hanega ba'or. Veti haro hakohen. Mispa'achat hi. V'hi bes b'igadav v'atzaher. V'pasah tiseh hamispachat ba'or. Acharei hiroto. El hakohen l'toharato v'nir shinit. El hakohen. Ra'ah hakohen. V'hinei pasah mispachat ba'or. Betim el hakohen. Sarai.
Amen.
Okay.
Ya'amdu Meir ben Leib Zelek ben Miriam ben Heschel. For the sixth Aliyah, we call upon Matt's grandparents, Martin and Marilyn Stein.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Olam. Asher B'char Banu Mikol Ha'amim. V'nasan Lanu Es Toraso. Baruch Atah Adonai Nosein HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Nega tzaraki tehiyeh v'dam v'huvayel hakohen. Ra'ah hakohen v'hinei seit levanav ba'or v'hi hachaser levan v'mikyat v'sarchai basei sarat noshen hi v'or b'saro v'timo hakohen Lo yaskiveni ki tamehu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher nasan lanu Torah emes b'chayei olam natan b'sochenu. Baruch atah Adonai nosein HaTorah.
Amen.
Yeah, I got lost. Thanks. I got lost again.
Ya'amdu Avraham ben Raphael v'Dobra bat Meir v'Rachel Gittel bat Avraham v'Dobra. For the seventh Aliyah, we call upon Matt's parents and sister, Scott, Debbie, and Rachel Burdman.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'char banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'im parach tifrach hatzarat ba'or v'tisah hatzarat eko or hanega mirosov yadrakav l'chomar ene hakohen Ra'ah hakohen v'hinei histah hatzarat eko b'saro betihar et hanaga kulo hafach levan tahorhu uvayom hiro bo Basar chai yitma.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam v'tabes okeinu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Ya'amod bar mitzvah Matityahu ben Avraham. To the honor of the maftir, we call upon our bar mitzvah, Matthew Burdman.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Olam Va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Vira'ah haKohen et habasar hachai v'timo, habasar hachai tamehu sara'athu, ochi yashuv habasar hachai v'nefach levan uva el haKohen, rahu haKohen v'hine nefach hanega l'levan v'tihar haKohen et hanega tahor. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan betochenu, Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Yamdu Hagba Uglila, Moshe ben Avraham, v'David ben Moshe. For the honor of raising and dressing the Torah, we call upon Ruth Hyman and David Kaufman.
Okay, sorry, I lost it. Yeah, my
Please rise.
all right.
Okay. Just open and close it up and show 3 columns of text to the congregation. Leverage it back. There you go. Hold it up.
V'zot haTorah asher natan Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael afi Adonai v'nat
We continue now with the reading of the Haftarah, which is on page 466 of the Chumash, as we read from the book of 2 Kings.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim, v'ratza v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah, ובמשה עבדו, ובישראל עמו, ובנביאי האמת והצדק. ואיש בא מבעל שלישה, ויבא לאיש האלוהים לחם ביכורים, 20 לחם שעורים, וכרמל בצקלונו. ויאמר תן לעם ויאכלו, ויאמר משרתו מה אתן זה לפני 100 איש, ויאמר vayiten la'am vayochelu ki hu amar Adonai achol v'hoter vayiten lifnehem vayochlu vayotiru ki dvar Adonai v'na'aman sartzeva melech aram haya ish gadol lifnei Adonav unesu fanim kivo natan Adonai teshu ala aram v'haish haya gibor chayil mitzorah va'aram yatzeu gedolim vayishbu me'eretz Yisrael na'ara ketana vatehi lifnei eshet na'aman Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam tzur kol ha'olamim tzadik b'chol hadorot ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer ve'oseh hamdaber umkayem shekol devarav emet v'tzedek al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al hanvi'im ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha v'limnucha לכבוד ולתפארת על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך יתברך שמך בפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת
And now we turn back to our Sidurim, to our prayer books, page 422, the bottom of the page, and we rise as we return our Torah to the Ark.
יהללו את שם אדוני כי נשגב שמו לבדו הודו על ארץ
Matt, we are very pleased to be able to celebrate this day with you and with your family. And on behalf of Temple Solel, we'd like to share with you some gifts that come from our congregation as well as from our community. And to do that, I'd like to call upon a family friend and member of our congregation, Sharon Walensky. Andy, you're coming up too? You're welcome, but it's going to cost you.
Mazel tov.
You did just incredible today. Andrew and I feel really honored to be one of the first to congratulate you. It's very exciting to see you read from the Torah as well as you did and become a bar mitzvah. Our families have been friends since you and Evan were babies. Watching you grow up on Heston Place, running in and out of our house as well as your own has always been great fun, and we feel as though you've grown up in our house as well as your own. Even when you and Evan would manage to get hurt, and you would come to me crying, "Sharon, I'm bleeding," you were so cute and special to us. We are so proud of you, and we can hardly believe how grown up you are. So, we are pleased to make these presentations to you on behalf of Temple Solel. This is a tree certificate that is being given to you from the Jewish National Fund. It represents a tree being planted in Israel in honor of you. Hopefully one day you'll get to go to Israel and see it. Also, this is a Kiddush cup that's being presented to you by the Sisterhood, and we hope that you'll use this as part of your Shabbat in your own home one day.
And Matt, you know, it's just really been an honor watching you grow up over the years. It really is. You did a beautiful job today. And, you know, I had tears in my eyes just watching you. I can't believe I've seen you from just a little guy in diapers crawling across the street to this beautiful, really fine young man that you've turned into. It's really been an honor to watch you. And I, on behalf of the men's club, I have a mezuzah here. And this mezuzah stands for doorpost. And I'm sure that you're going to put this on your doorpost. And I know that everybody entering your house will always enter knowing that they have a very compassionate person there, and one that will not look and will look beyond their skin and see what they're really all about before making any judgments about what they are. And Matt, you did a beautiful job. Your speech was beautiful, and you're a beautiful guy. You really are.
Thanks.
And it's my privilege to be able to present you with your bar mitzvah certificate. And as I do that, I'd like to put it, if I may, in the context of our Torah portion, which is a somewhat difficult Torah portion, as those of you who followed along in the translation, I'm sure, came to see quite quickly, because it discusses in great detail how one is dealt with who has this affliction of leprosy. And we're taught about how they're treated, how they're sent out of the camp, how once they're cleansed, they go through a period of ritual purification and ultimately are permitted to re-enter. And the Torah basically says, this shall be the law concerning Hamitzorah, concerning the leper. Now, the Talmud wants to do something with this verse. And rather than reading, this shall be the law concerning Hamitzorah, concerning the leper, they would have us read, this shall be the law concerning Hamotzi Shem Ra, the one who acquires a bad name. Now, what our rabbis want to do is use this verse symbolically in order to teach us that Hamotzi Shem Ra, the person who through their negative conduct and behavior acquires such a bad name, is one who should be sent outside of the camp and outside of the precincts of the Jewish people. And in this way, they use our Torah portion and this particular verse to teach us a critical lesson in Jewish life. And that is that our name, our reputation, is of fundamental importance. And therefore, in another place in our tradition, our rabbis have said that every Jew actually has 3 different names. First, there is our Hebrew name, and that's the name which we're given when we come into this world. It's the name to which Matt was called up to the Torah today. It's the name by which we are also buried at the end of our life cycle. The second name that every Jew has, of course, is the one by which we are called. It's the name that we're known out there in the world, which in our case is usually our given English name. But then there's a third name, and this name is in importance above the other 2, and that is the name which we earn. And finally, that brings me to Matt, because that is truly what this day is all about for him and for his family. He has, through obviously a great deal of preparation and commitment, earned a Shem Tov, a good name, within the congregation of Israel. And I know that there are really 2 aspects to this accomplishment today. One has to do with the personal commitment and perseverance which Matt invested in becoming bar mitzvah. And the second has to do with carrying on the memory of loved ones and the traditions which are obviously so fundamental to your family and so very, very important. And so you have lived up to that aspiration of the Jewish people today, l'dor vador, from generation to generation. And as I present your certificate of bar mitzvah to you, may it be a reminder always, not only of the accomplishment of this day, but of the responsibility which this day invokes for you and for your family. And may you and all of your family truly grow from this day forward from strength to strength. Mazel tov. And now I'd like to call forward to the pulpit your uncle, Rabbi Ted Levy, who this morning will give you your blessing.
Matt, I'm sure you know we are tremendously proud of you. In this particular moment, all the eyes of the congregation are turned to you, and I know that full well all of your loved ones here and those who have departed are part of this day, and that's as it should be. I'm going to say one thing that I feel particularly important today. You know, in our family there is a sense of social responsibility. And your message today, I think, touched not only my heart, but everyone's heart. You're a very special young man, and I only hope and pray that the words you utter today will be written upon your heart eternally. You will continue to make this world a better place for everyone to live. And in so doing, I ask that God's blessing be upon you. Bow your head. Okay. Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avoseinu, Lord God, we thank you for the life you have given to us. We thank you for Matt, who from his earliest childhood until this moment has brought great pleasure to his family. Supported by his loved ones, they have raised him to reach this moment of bar mitzvah. We pray, O Lord, that this service of bar mitzvah will strengthen him and all of his loved ones in the great faith of Judaism. May the influence at this hour, Matt, may it remain with you at all times. And may you so live that you will find grace in the eyes of all humanity and reflect honor upon your dear parents and all of your loved ones. As God has helped you reach this day, so we pray that God will be with you in all the days that are to come. Yivorechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Yo'er Adonai panav elecha b'chunecha. May the Lord let his countenance shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yisro Adonai panav elecha v'yoseim lecha shalom. May the Lord lift up the light of his countenance upon you and grant you coming years of good health and happiness and God's greatest gift, shalom, peace. God bless you.
Thank you.
Terrific. Also talk to you. Let me give you a kiss on the cheek. You're well. Yes,
שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם. שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Elena is on page 615, and we rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה יוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמענו כמפלגות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהן, ויגאל עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים,
page 622. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, let us meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. And as we recite Kaddish together, we think especially of those whose memory fills this special occasion: Muriel and Ronald Burdman, Doris and Harry Burdman, Maurice and Ruth Kaufman, Herman and Grace Klein, and Louis Stern. Kaddish is on page, Stein, I'm sorry. You should know all the Steins by now. Kaddish is on page 629. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shamei rabbah, be'alma divra chiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon v'yomechon, uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudisha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehesh lama rabba min shemaya v'chayim, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom v'imromav, u'ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. We conclude our service with Adon Olam, which is on page 729.
Adon Olam, Asher Malach, V'terem kol Yitzir Nivra, Adon Olam, Le'edna Asa, V'chefzo kol, Azay Melech Shimon Nikra, Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, V'terem kol Yitzir Nivra, Le'edna Asa, V'chefzo kol, Azay Melech Shimon Adon Olam, ve'acharei kichlot hakol, levado yimlom nora Adon Olam, ve'hu hayam, ve'hu hoveh, ve'hu yiyeh v'tifara Adon, this side, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, v'terem kol, Yitzir Nivra, le'ed nasa, v'chetzo kol, Azay melech shemo nikra Adon Olam, ve'hu echad ve'ein sheni, laham shilo laham bira Adon Olam, ve'li reshit, ve'li tachlit, ve'lo ha'oz ve'hamizrach. Rabbi side lead. Adon Olam, Asher malach, b'terem kol, Yitzir nivra, le'ed nazah v'chefzo kol, Azay melech shemo nikra Adon Olam, ve'hu eli, v'chai go'ali, v'tzur chemli b'ein zara Adon Olam, ve'hu nisi, u'manos li, v'nat kuzi v'yom nikra men lead. Adon Olam, Asher malach, b'terem kol, Yitzir nivra, le'ed nazah v'chefzo kol, Azay melech shemo nikra Adon Olam, v'yado afid ruchi, ve'ed tishan v'a'ira Adon Olam, ve'im ruchi giviyati, Adon ali v'lo ira. Women lead. Adon Olam, Asher malach, b'terem kol, Yitzir nivra, le'ed Sa Bechet Sokol Atzvay Melech Shelo Nikra Adonai Olam.
I want to wish all of you a Shabbat Shalom, and I'm going to invite everybody to join in the social hall for a Kiddush. And what I would request is a couple of things. First of all, if you would leave all of your things that you brought in, you can just leave them on the seats, and we will put them away for you, your talesim and chumashim and so forth. And secondly, if you could remain at your seats for just long enough for the Burdmans to precede you into the Kiddush and then join there. Also, our Adult B'nai Mitzvah class, you'll be joining with us in the social hall for Kiddush, and then we're going to go upstairs to the library for our Shabbat luncheon. So, Mazel Tov to the Burdmans, and again, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. You're a man. You've always been a man.
Sherlock Holmes could have figured that one out. You're going to go mad.
Charlie, Mazel Tov. You. And you were terrific.
This year,
Give me
great
five.
night.
Give me five up here. All right.
You stole
He sure did.
No more? You done? Okay. Said no more. You want a grape? You like grapes? You like this?
Now you know that all the hard work is worth it.
Yeah. Because he's a participant. It's a camera guy. Good job, Matthew. Really satisfied. You are a great pot mitzvah boy. Oh, and the bagels. Yeah, they're pretty good.
Congratulations on the great speech. Sure did.
You know? Did you like?
Thank you everyone for coming to my bar mitzvah. I'll see you at the party tonight, and I know we'll have a lot of fun.